The meeting room turned into a prison cell as I sat across from Travis, watching him stamp "denied" across my promotion paperwork for the third consecutive year. The red ink seemed to bleed through the page like my crushed hopes. "The delay itself is your punishment," he said, sliding my rejection letter toward me with manicured fingertips. His voice carried that familiar smug tone, the one reserved for moments when he exerted power over others. "Perhaps next review cycle you'll remember your place." I wanted to scream. 3 years of watching junior colleagues zoom past me on the corporate ladder while I remained anchored to my entry-level position, despite outperforming everyone in our division. My quarterly reports consistently showed top metrics. I'd secured the Henderson account, the largest industrial client in our region, single-handedly. My real crime? Questioning Travis when I discovered altered safety inspection results that could have endangered lives at the Henderson manufacturing plant. "Your performance file speaks for itself." Travis tapped a thick manila envelope marked "confidential," with a red stripe across it, the file he never allowed anyone else to see. "Some things just don't warrant advancement, Kalia." The way he said my name made my skin crawl. I nodded quietly, gathering my papers with steady hands that betrayed none of the rage building inside me. "I understand. Thank you for the feedback." Walking back to my cubicle felt like the longest journey of my life. Whispers followed me, some sympathetic, most curious about how I'd failed again. Before I continue with what happened next, I want to thank you for listening to my story. If you're enjoying it so far, please hit that like button and subscribe to hear more stories like mine. Your comments mean everything to me. I read every single one. Now, let's get back to how this all unfolded. My name is Kalia Winters. I graduated top of my class in industrial engineering and landed what I thought was my dream job at a prestigious safety compliance firm. I'm methodical, detail-oriented, and have a photographic memory for regulations and safety codes, traits that made me exceptional at my job, but apparently threatening to Travis. The trouble began 4 years into my career when I was assigned to the Henderson manufacturing plant. The facility produced critical parts for transportation infrastructure, and our inspection reports directly impacted public safety. During my third inspection visit, I noticed inconsistencies between my findings and the final report submitted by Travis. "These support beam stress test results have been altered," I told him privately after comparing my raw data to his final submission. "The northeastern section doesn't meet minimum safety standards. We can't sign off on this." Travis leaned back in his chair, studying me with cold calculation. "Henderson is our biggest client, Kalia. Do you know what happens if we delay their production schedule?" "I know what happens if a bridge collapses because we falsified safety reports," I countered. His expression hardened. "You misunderstood my corrections. Your inexperience led to testing errors. I fixed them. But my original readings clearly show." "That's enough." He slammed his palm on his desk. "I'm the senior inspector. My assessment stands." The next day, I arrived to find my desk reassigned to the corner of the office. My name disappeared from prime project assignments. When promotion season came, Travis created the mysterious performance file that would haunt me for years. After that first rejection, I contemplated quitting. Most would have, but something inside me refused to give him the satisfaction. Instead, I became indispensable, arriving early, staying late, and taking on the inspections nobody wanted. I developed a reputation among clients for thoroughness and integrity. I built relationships with staff in every department. I redesigned our risk assessment protocols, creating a more efficient system that became the company's standard. Though Travis ensured my name appeared nowhere in the documentation. "How do you stay so positive?" my colleague Dina asked after my second promotion rejection. We sat in the break room as she awkwardly avoided mentioning her own recent advancement. I smiled. "I believe in what I do. The work matters." What I didn't tell her, I was playing the long game, not collecting evidence. That would be too obvious with Travis watching my every move. Instead, I was building a foundation no one could ignore, and allies throughout the company who knew my true value. "We simply can't lose you," Travis would say when I hinted at other opportunities. "But there's nothing I can do about advancement until your performance issues are addressed." Meanwhile, I volunteered for the cross-departmental safety committee, gaining visibility with executives I'd otherwise never meet. I created training materials that saved the company thousands in onboarding costs. I became the quiet expert everyone consulted but no one championed for promotion. The watershed moment came when our company merged with Northlake Industries, a larger firm with stricter corporate governance. Their HR director, Zoe, began reviewing all personnel files as part of the transition. I was working late one evening, finalizing an inspection report, when she appeared at my desk. Her suit was impeccable, her expression unreadable. "Kalia Winters?" she asked, checking my nameplate. "Yes, that's me. I'd like a moment of your time tomorrow. My office, 9 a.m. I barely slept that night, wondering if this merger would finally break my career stalemate or end it entirely. Zoe's office was minimalist, just a desk, 2 chairs, and a wall of professional certifications. She gestured for me to sit as she reviewed a tablet. "I've noticed something unusual," she said, looking up. "Your performance metrics are exceptional. Client satisfaction ratings in the top percentile. You single-handedly prevented a catastrophic failure at the West River Bridge project by identifying structural weaknesses others missed. Yet your advancement has completely stalled." I maintained my composure. "My manager mentions performance issues documented in a special file." Her eyebrows lifted. "A special file?" "Yes, a sealed performance file that only he has access to." She made a note. "That's not standard protocol in any company I've worked with." Hope flickered dangerously inside me. 7 days later, my phone rang with an unknown number. "Kalia, this is Zoe. I need to understand something." Her voice had an edge I hadn't heard before. "The Henderson project you flagged concerns about 3 years ago. Did you keep any of your original testing data?" My heart hammered against my ribs. "I followed protocol and submitted all materials to my supervisor." "I see." The line went quiet for a moment. "I've reviewed your sealed file. It claims you're technically deficient and unreliable, yet every client assessment contradicts this." I felt dizzy. That's been the justification for denying my promotion 3 years running. "One more question. The risk assessment protocol our company uses, the one that saved millions in prevention costs. Who developed that?" "I did," I admitted. Though the official documentation credits the department, the silence that followed spoke volumes. "Thank you, Kalia. That's all for now." The next morning, whispers spread through the office. An emergency board meeting had been called. I tried to focus on my work, but tension crackled through the building like electricity. Around noon, I spotted Travis storming through hallways, barking into his cell phone, his face flushed crimson. By mid-afternoon, security was escorting his assistant as she carried his personal items from his office in a cardboard box. I sat frozen at my desk, unable to process what was happening. Was this really the moment I'd been waiting for? Or would the system protect him once again? As the office emptied for the day, Greta, the board chairwoman, appeared at my cubicle. Her silver hair was pulled into a tight bun, her expression serious but not unkind. "Kalia, we'd like to discuss your future with the company. Tomorrow morning, 8 a.m., my office." I drove home in a daze, wondering what tomorrow would bring. My phone buzzed repeatedly, Travis's number flashing with increasing desperation. I silenced it and set it aside. Whatever happened next, everything was about to change. I barely slept that night. Each time I closed my eyes, I saw Travis's face, first smug as he denied my promotion, then panicked as he was escorted out. What had Zoe found? What would tomorrow bring? My alarm jarred me awake at 5:30 a.m., though I'd been staring at the ceiling since 4. I dressed with extra care, choosing a simple blue button-up and black pants, professional, but not trying too hard. The drive to the office was surreal, the morning sun painting everything in golden light that felt almost mocking in its beauty. I arrived 30 minutes early, finding the building eerily quiet except for the cleaning crew. I used the time to organize my thoughts, pulling together a mental catalog of projects, accomplishments, and challenges from the past 3 years. If this meeting was what I thought, I needed to be ready. At precisely 8 a.m., I knocked on Greta's door. "Come in, Kalia." The boardroom was intimidating, a long table with 8 chairs, each occupied by senior leadership I rarely encountered. Zoe sat to Greta's right, a thick folder in front of her. My heart stuttered when I spotted the red, confidential stripe. "Please sit," Greta gestured to the single chair opposite them. I sat, back straight, hands folded in my lap to stop their trembling. Greta cleared her throat. "Kalia, we've called you here because of some irregularities discovered during our merger process." My mouth went dry. "I understand." "I'll be direct," Zoe interjected, opening the folder. "We've discovered your supervisor, Travis, has been systematically suppressing your career advancement through falsified performance reports while simultaneously taking credit for your innovations." The room spun slightly. Hearing it stated so plainly after years of gaslighting was overwhelming. "But that's not all," Greta continued. The Henderson manufacturing plant inspection, the one where you raised safety concerns, resulted in significant structural reinforcements after a secondary inspection was quietly ordered by the client based on your initial findings. Trevis had approved the facility despite known safety risks. I swallowed hard. I didn't know there was a secondary inspection. No, you wouldn't have, said an older man at the end of the table. I'm Philip, head of legal. Trevis buried that report and created this special performance file on you the very next day. Zoe slid several papers toward me. These are the original safety reports you submitted, alongside Trevis's altered versions. The differences are concerning. I stared at the papers, seeing my own handwriting contrasted with Trevis's modifications. 3 years of doubt about my own competence crumbled in an instant. We believed Trevis was receiving kickbacks for expedited approvals, Greta said, her voice tight with controlled anger. When you threatened that arrangement, he retaliated by stalling your career. The revelation hit me like a physical blow. It wasn't just personal animosity, it was corruption. What happens now? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. Greta exchanged glances with the others before sliding a contract across the table. We're creating a new division, focused on safety protocol, innovation, and compliance oversight. We'd like you to head it, reporting directly to the executive team. I blinked, certain I'd misheard. Head it? With a team of 12 inspectors under you, Zoe added. Your salary would triple, effective immediately, with back pay for the promotions you should have received. My fingers trembled as I accepted the contract. And Trevis? Philip's expression hardened. Terminated for cause. We're also initiating an investigation into all his approved projects over the past 5 years. As the meeting concluded, Greta walked me to the door. We failed you, Kalia. The system that should have protected you became a weapon against you. We're determined to make that right. I nodded, too overwhelmed for words. One more thing, she added quietly. We know you had opportunities to leave but chose to stay. May I ask why? The question caught me off guard. Why had I stayed? Pride? Stubbornness? A need to prove myself? I believed the truth would eventually come to light, I said finally, and I couldn't walk away knowing what I knew about the safety protocols. She studied me for a long moment. That's exactly why you're the right person to lead this new division. As I walked back to my desk, colleagues stared openly. News travels fast in an office, and clearly, something significant had shifted. Dina hurried over, eyes wide. What's happening? People are saying Trevis was fired and you're getting promoted? I smiled, the expression feeling foreign after so many years of carefully controlled reactions, something like that. Before I could elaborate, my phone buzzed. Trevis again. The 7th call since yesterday. This time, I answered. Kalia, thank God. His voice cracked with desperation. There's been a terrible misunderstanding. I need you to tell them it's all a mistake. The audacity stole my breath. A mistake? You know how these corporate transitions go. People looking for scapegoats. We've always worked well together, haven't we? I've been your biggest supporter. 3 years of suppressed anger threatened to explode, but I kept my voice level. Is that what you call blocking my promotion for 3 years? That was just standard procedure. Your performance file. The falsified one? Or the real reports showing I outperformed everyone in our division? His breathing quickened. Listen, I can fix this. Once this blows over, I'll make sure you get that promotion. We're a team, right? A team. As if we'd been equals all this time. Goodbye, Trevis. Wait, you don't understand what's at stake. I have a mortgage, a family. I ended the call, a strange lightness filling my chest. 2 weeks passed in a blur of meetings, introductions, and training. My new office, previously occupied by a vice president who had retired, had windows overlooking the city. My team looked to me with respect I'd earned years ago but never received. Then came the Industry Safety Conference in Chicago, where I was scheduled to present our new compliance protocols. As I reviewed my presentation in the hotel lobby, a familiar voice cut through the ambient noise. Well, if it isn't the rising star. I looked up to find Trevis standing before me, his once immaculate appearance now rumpled. His tie was slightly askew, his shirt wrinkled. What are you doing here? I asked, fighting the instinct to shrink away. He smiled thinly. Consulting now. Several firms were quite interested in my expertise. He gestured to the chair across from me. Mind if I join you? Every instinct screamed to refuse, but curiosity won out. I nodded once. He sat, leaning forward. I wanted to congratulate you. That was quite the career move you pulled. I didn't pull anything. The truth came out. His laugh held no humor. Come on, Kalia. We both know what happened. You played the long game, making yourself indispensable, building allies, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. That's not. It's impressive, actually, he continued, his admiration seeming genuine. I underestimated you. Most people would have quit or filed complaints that went nowhere. But you, he shook his head. You dismantled my entire career without ever confronting me directly. I stared at him, unsettled by how he'd reframed my simple act of endurance as calculated revenge. That's not what happened, I insisted. I just did my job while you actively sabotaged me. And now you have my position, plus some. He smiled again, this time with something like pride. I taught you well. My skin crawled at the implication. You taught me nothing except how corrupt the system can be. His expression darkened. Be careful, Kalia. Success has many enemies. People will be watching for you to fail. Is that a threat? A friendly warning from someone who knows. He stood, straightening his jacket. The higher you climb, the harder the fall. As he walked away, a chill settled over me. Was he right? Had I unconsciously orchestrated his downfall? And more importantly, would I become like him now that I had power? Back in my hotel room, I called Zoe, needing reassurance I wasn't becoming the very thing I'd despised. He's trying to get into your head, she said after I recounted the encounter. Classic manipulation, trying to make you question your own integrity. But what if he's right? What if I did stay just to see him fall? Kalia, listen to me. You stayed because you have integrity, because you couldn't walk away knowing safety protocols were being compromised. Don't let him twist that into something ugly. Her words helped, but doubt lingered. The next morning, as I prepared to deliver my presentation, I spotted Travis in the back row of the conference room, watching me with unnerving intensity. My hands trembled slightly as I arranged my notes. The introduction went smoothly, but as I began explaining our new compliance framework, a hand rose from the audience. Excuse me, called a woman in the third row. These protocols look remarkably similar to what Travis presented at the regional summit last year. My heart stopped. What? Actually, Travis called from the back, standing up. I'm glad someone noticed. These are indeed the protocols I developed during my tenure. The room erupted in murmurs. I stood frozen, microphone in hand, as 3 years of work threatened to be stolen from me yet again. I'd be happy to clarify, Travis continued, moving toward the stage. In fact, I have the original drafts with me. As he approached, holding a folder, I felt something inside me shift. No, not again. Never again. I looked directly at him, my voice finding new strength as I spoke into the microphone. That's interesting, Travis, because the date stamps on the original files tell a different story. He faltered mid-step. In fact, I continued, my heart racing but my voice steady. I'd like to share something with everyone here today. I clicked to a slide I'd prepared but hadn't planned to show, a timeline of the protocol development with screenshots of the creation dates, my email exchanges with the testing team, and initial drafts in my handwriting. I created these protocols 3 years ago while working under Travis, who consistently took credit for my innovations while blocking my advancement. The truth has recently come to light, which is why I now lead our new compliance division. The room fell silent. Travis stood frozen in the aisle, his face draining of color. Now, I said, smiling at the audience, any other questions about the actual safety protocols? The presentation continued without further interruption. Afterward, colleagues swarmed me with questions, congratulations, and business cards. Through the crowd, I caught a glimpse of Travis slipping out the side door, shoulders slumped in defeat. That evening, I received a text from him. This isn't over. I stared at those 3 words, feeling the weight of his threat. What did he still have up his sleeve? And how far would he go to reclaim what he believed was his? I saved the text message. Evidence was something I'd learned to preserve. The conference ended the next day, and I returned to the office with a strange mix of triumph and unease. My team greeted me with enthusiastic reports of progress, but Travis's words echoed in my mind. This isn't over. 3 days later, I discovered what he meant. Kalia, do you have a minute? Zoe appeared at my office door, her usual composure slightly fractured. Of course. She closed the door behind her. We've received a complaint from Western Regional Manufacturing. They're claiming our new safety protocols failed to identify a critical structural weakness in their East Wing facility. My stomach tightened. That's impossible. I personally reviewed those inspections. I know. She placed a report on my desk. But they've provided documentation showing our team signed off on areas that apparently failed internal stress tests yesterday. I scanned the report, noting the inspection date, location, and most importantly, the inspector's signature. This isn't our inspection team's signature protocol, I said, pointing to the approval line. We use dual authentication with date stamps. Zoe nodded. I noticed that too. And the client contact listed here is Travis's brother-in-law? I finished, remembering a casual mention years ago at a company picnic. You think Travis is behind this? I know he is. I pulled up the complete inspection record on my computer. Here's our actual report from 2 weeks ago, flagging precisely the area they're claiming we missed. Relief flickered across Zoe's face. I'll handle Western Regional. But Kalia, I know, he's trying to sabotage me. Be careful, he still has industry connections. The incident with Western Regional was just the beginning. Over the next 2 weeks, 3 more clients reported concerns about our inspections, all with suspicious documentation, all easily disproven with our proper records. Each time I found Travis's fingerprints, old colleagues he'd influenced, documentation that mimicked our style but missed key verification elements, inspection dates that mysteriously changed. He's getting desperate, Philip told me after the 3rd incident, but also more dangerous. What do you suggest? I asked. Document everything, trust no one outside your immediate team, and watch for unusual patterns. I took his advice, implementing additional verification steps in our protocols and personally reviewing every inspection report before submission. My days stretched into nights, sleep becoming a luxury I couldn't afford. The pressure was immense. One legitimate mistake could validate Travis's sabotage campaign. Then came the Henderson account. They're requesting you personally for their annual safety inspection, my assistant said, placing the request on my desk. Specifically you, not just our department. Henderson, where it all began, where I'd first discovered Travis's altered safety reports, where he'd first threatened my career. When? Next Tuesday. Their production schedule is tight, so they need quick turnaround. Warning bells rang in my mind. Henderson never rushed inspections. Their insurance required thorough documentation. Get me everything we have on Henderson's inspection history, and book me for Tuesday. That weekend, I reviewed every Henderson report from the past 5 years, noting patterns, inconsistencies, and the gradually increasing safety margins Travis had shaved off with each inspection. The picture that emerged was disturbing. A systematic reduction in safety requirements that kept Henderson's maintenance costs low but pushed their equipment dangerously close to failure thresholds. Tuesday arrived with a knot of tension in my stomach. I drove to Henderson personally rather than taking the company car, arriving 30 minutes early to walk the perimeter. The facility looked the same. Massive industrial complex, trucks coming and going, workers in hard hats moving with purpose. At the main entrance, I was greeted not by the safety coordinator I expected, but by Owen, Henderson's operations director, and Travis's former golf buddy. Kalia, thank you for coming personally. His handshake was firm, his smile not reaching his eyes. We have a specific section we need inspected today. I understand you're on a tight schedule, I said carefully. But our protocol requires full facility inspection. Of course, he waved dismissively. But if you could start with the Eastern Production Wing, that would help us immensely. The Eastern Wing, the same section where I'd first found altered safety reports. I'll need my full team for a proper inspection, I said. Oh, we were told you'd handle this personally. His smile tightened. Travis always did. There it was. The trap began to take shape in my mind. I'll need to make a quick call, I said, stepping aside. I called Zoe, keeping my voice low. Travis is setting me up at Henderson. I need backup and legal coverage. What's happening? They want me to inspect alone, specifically the section where safety reports were previously altered. I think they're planning to claim I missed something critical or falsified reports. Don't enter the facility, she said immediately. We'll send a full team and legal representation. This sounds like a coordination with Travis to discredit you. When I returned to Owen, his impatience was visible. Problem? Company protocol has changed since the merger. I'm required to have at least 2 additional inspectors for any site visit. They'll be here within the hour. His expression darkened. We don't have time for that. Either you inspect now, or we'll need to find another firm. I smiled pleasantly. That's certainly your prerogative, Mr. Owen. I'll just need written confirmation that you declined our standard inspection protocol. For the record. He blinked, clearly not expecting this response. Let me check with management. While he stepped away, I noticed a familiar car pulling into the visitor's lot, Travis's silver sedan. So he was here, waiting to spring whatever trap they'd prepared. My phone buzzed with a text from Zoe. Team and legal, 20 minutes out. Stall. Owen returned, his manner suddenly accommodating. Actually, we can wait for your team. Safety first, right? Absolutely, I agreed. Why don't we review the areas you're most concerned about while we wait? For the next 15 minutes, I kept Owen talking in the lobby, extracting valuable information about recent equipment changes and maintenance schedules. When my team arrived, 4 inspectors and our legal counsel, Owen's face fell. This seems excessive for a routine inspection, he protested. Our lawyer, Amira, stepped forward. Given the history of documentation discrepancies at this facility, we're implementing enhanced verification protocols. The inspection proceeded with meticulous attention to detail. In the Eastern Wing, we discovered exactly what I suspected: equipment operating beyond safety tolerances, with maintenance records that had been backdated to appear compliant. Most tellingly, recent repairs showed signs of hasty completion, as if prepared specifically for today's inspection. Interesting timing on these repairs, I noted to the maintenance supervisor, who avoided my eyes. Standard maintenance cycle, he mumbled, with yesterday's date on fresh welding seals. As we completed our inspection, documenting every discrepancy with photos and sensor readings, I spotted Travis in a glass-walled conference room with Owen and 2 other Henderson executives. Their animated discussion ceased when they noticed me watching. Back at the office, our team compiled the most comprehensive inspection report Henderson had ever received, documenting 23 safety violations that required immediate attention before operations could continue. They won't like this, Amira warned as we finalized the report. They don't have to like it. The violations are real and documented beyond dispute. The response was swift and furious. Henderson's CEO called Greta directly, claiming we were implementing punitive measures based on personal vendettas. Travis submitted a formal industry complaint, alleging I had fabricated violations to target his former client. For 3 tense days, our findings were scrutinized by the board, external consultants, and Henderson's own safety team. The pressure was enormous. My entire division's credibility hung in the balance, along with my career. On Friday morning, Greta called me into her office. Her expression gave nothing away as I took a seat. The independent review is complete, she said without preamble. I nodded, hands clasped tightly in my lap. All 23 violations were confirmed. A small smile broke through her professional mask. In fact, the independent inspectors found 4 additional issues we missed. Relief flooded through me. And Henderson? They've agreed to a complete safety overhaul and terminated their relationship with Travis's new consulting firm. They're claiming he advised them to make cosmetic changes to pass inspection rather than addressing underlying issues. And Travis's complaint against me? Withdrawn this morning. She slid a folder across the desk. But that's not all. The review triggered an industry-wide audit of facilities Travis inspected in the past 3 years. 3 other manufacturing plants have already been temporarily shut down due to critical safety violations. I opened the folder to find a press release draft, announcing our firm's new role in establishing updated industry safety standards, with me named as project lead. This isn't just vindication, Kalia. This is revolution. You've exposed systemic problems that put countless lives at risk. As I left Greta's office, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Need to talk. It's Travis. Please. I stared at the message, remembering 3 years of humiliation, gaslighting, and suppressed rage. The old Kalia would have ignored it, taking the high road. But I wasn't that person anymore. I texted back, Riverfront Park, 6 p.m. The park was quiet at that hour, most workers having headed home for the weekend. I spotted Travis on a bench overlooking the water, his once confident posture now slumped in defeat. Thank you for coming, he said as I approached, not looking up. I remained standing. What do you want? To explain, to apologize. He finally raised his eyes to mine. I'm finished, Kalia. No firm will hire me after the Henderson fallout. The industry association is reviewing my certification. That's not my problem. I know. He ran a hand through his disheveled hair. But I thought maybe you could. Put in a word. Tell them I cooperated. Something to salvage what's left of my career. I studied him. This man who had tormented me for years, now reduced to begging for my help. The power dynamics had completely reversed. In that moment, I had exactly what I dreamed of during countless sleepless nights. Travis, at my mercy. Do you remember what you said to me 3 years ago, when you first denied my promotion? He frowned, then understanding dawned. The delay itself is your punishment. Yes. I sat beside him, close enough to see the fear in his eyes. For 3 years, I waited, watching colleagues advance past me, doubting my own abilities, wondering what I'd done wrong. I was wrong, he whispered. I was threatened by you. And now you want my help? He nodded, a glimmer of hope in his expression. I reached into my bag and removed a folder, identical to the confidential file he'd used against me for years. I've created a file on you, Travis. Everything you did to me, every altered report, every safety violation you approved, every kickback you received. I placed it between us on the bench. The industry association already has a copy. The color drained from his face. You're destroying me. No, I stood, straightening my jacket. I'm ensuring justice. The delay itself is your punishment, but the consequences are your own making. As I walked away, I heard him call after me, his voice breaking. I didn't look back. 3 months later, our new safety standards were implemented across the industry. My team expanded to 30 inspectors, all trained in the rigorous protocols I'd developed. Henderson's facility reopened under new management, with our firm providing ongoing safety consultation. And Travis? The last I heard, he was working night security at a warehouse. His certification permanently revoked after the investigation revealed kickbacks from 6 different companies. Sometimes, when I walk past my glass-walled office with its view of the city, I think about that day in the park, not with regret, but with the quiet satisfaction of knowing that justice, though delayed, eventually arrives. The file remains in my desk drawer, a reminder of how power can corrupt and how truth, though buried, will always find its way to light. If you've stayed with me until the end of this story, thank you. Your support means everything. If it resonated with you, please like, share, and subscribe for more stories about standing up against injustice, even when the odds seem impossible. Remember, sometimes winning isn't about immediate victory. It's about having the courage to stay in the fight when everyone expects you to quit.